Hello, everyone out there on YouTube. I'm Ian Heffley, admissions counselor here for SIT Study Abroad programs in Africa and the Middle East. And today I'm joined with an alumna from our Middle East Morocco Multiculturalism and Human Rights program. Zoe, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Zoe Smith, and I am a senior at Colgate University in Central New York, and I'm studying sociology and Middle East studies. And I studied abroad in Morocco this past spring, so I was just there from January until early May.
Well, thank you for taking some time. I know it looks like you're back at school, and I know senior year can be very busy. So I'll jump right into it.
Great.
There are lots of options out there for study abroad, whether it's in the Middle East or Morocco. And what made you choose SIT and particularly the Morocco Multiculturalism program?
Well, I was drawn to SIT in the first place because I really wanted a cultural immersion experience, and I noticed that a lot of other programs you would live in a dorm or you would only really interact with other American students, and I wanted to find a good balance between learning with other American students, but also really being immersed in the culture and experiencing the authentic culture as much as possible. So that's what attracted me to SIT. And then specifically, I chose Morocco because I study Arabic, and I wanted to be in a country that was an Arabic-speaking country, an Arab country, a Muslim country. And so I was very attracted to Morocco for that reason. And then my major in sociology is what attracted me specifically to the Multiculturalism and Human Rights program. So it kind of combined all my different interests into one program, which was really great.
That's amazing that you were able to find that. That's very lucky too.
Definitely.
So, now, you mentioned a few different aspects about the SIT program that appealed to you. So if you had to take one of those aspects that you mentioned, or perhaps you didn't mention, and name it as your favorite aspect, what would that be?
Oh, it's hard to pick one, but definitely throughout the whole program, one of my top three. I guess one of my favorite aspects was living with a homestay, living with a host family, having my own sisters, having parents there. It really helped feel a sense of place and familiarity for me, and it helped me feel like less of an outsider. And that is specifically what I was looking for in my abroad experience. So I was really grateful that SIT offered the homestay experience.
Excellent. Now, a big portion, and you mentioned this a little bit with the independent study project, a big portion of your semester is devoted to the undergraduate research project. So would you care to elaborate a little bit on what you researched and how you went about doing it, and if you are still studying along those lines back at Colgate?
Of course. Yeah, I loved my ISP. I went in with an idea of exactly what I wanted to do, and it actually evolved and completely transformed throughout my time there, which was cool. That the way the program works is that you do your research project at the very end. So you have 2 months to really deliberate and learn and interact with the culture, and then decide exactly what you want to do. So what I did specifically was I looked at the body image and beauty standards for Moroccan women, which is not at all what I thought I was going to do, but I loved doing it. I was looking at how their standard of beauty and how the idea of the ideal body image for women in Morocco is different than the Western standard, how it's evolved over the past generations, how it's been influenced by modern media, all these things. And I loved my project. I actually ended up doing about 14 or 15 interviews, which is a lot for this type of project. Some people do between 5 and 10, but I was fortunate enough to be able to do a lot. And I did semi-structured interviews, sometimes in Arabic, sometimes in English. And then I also did some research through articles and textbooks and previous literature on the topic, although there wasn't very much literature. So anyway, it was a great experience. Definitely one of my favorite parts. And I learned a lot. I made a lot of friends that I still keep in touch with from Morocco. So yeah.
Excellent. That sounds really fascinating. So now to change tracks a little bit, even though you were on one of our bigger programs, it was still only roughly 30 people.
Right.
So we really value the smaller groups because it makes experiential learning much easier.
Definitely.
So now that is good because it gives you as the student a very hands-on, intimate, personalized educational experiential learning environment, but
right.
it also means that many people don't know who we are. So how would you explain SIT study abroad to someone who has no idea who we are?
I would say, I mean, I completely agree with what you just said, that the size of the program completely made it what it is. It would have been a completely different experience if there had been 100 people or even 50, whatever, any larger size. And I thought that it was great that it was a small group because I developed strong personal relationships with every single person on my program. I felt comfortable spending time with them. I could reach out to them if I was in need of something. We could travel together, anything like that. So I would say that SIT is unique because of that dynamic, because it's so small and it's such an intimate environment and program. I also would say that it has the perfect balance of experiential learning through your own independence, but also through the help of your academic director and of other supervisors there. So for example, we did a lot of excursions over the weekend or through the week to different parts of Morocco, and we did that as a program. And that's different than a lot of other abroad programs where you can travel when you want, but you can just sort of go with your friends and sort of just jump in and learn wherever you're going. But what I loved is that it was more structured. And so when we went to these historic cultural cities like Fez, like Marrakesh, like all those cities, we had experienced leaders who could take us through and show us the significant parts of the city that we might have no idea it even existed if we were just traveling alone. So that was also one of my favorite parts. And then I do think that the research project completely sets apart SIT from any other program in the sense that you're doing hands-on research. It's almost like writing a thesis or doing, something higher level. And you get to do it in undergrad, which is amazing, and in a country that you like, a completely different country. So the ISP, I think, completely sets SIT apart in a really powerful way.
I'm glad it was such a powerful experience for you. Now, a perfect segue here. Are you continuing that research? I mean, you mentioned you were a Middle Eastern Studies student at Colgate, but are you continuing that research along that theme or in that region and language now that you're back in Colgate?
Yeah, so I'm majoring in sociology and minoring in Middle East studies, and I didn't know, sort of before I went abroad, I had no idea what I wanted to write my senior thesis on, but now I am very interested in researching sort of the Western standard of body image and how that standard compares to the findings I found in Morocco. So I'm definitely interested in comparing this research and sort of building on it. And also, even more than that, I'm looking into other after I graduate that are in the region. Teaching experiences, research experiences, anything like that. So before I went to Morocco, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to work or live abroad really after college. It wasn't something I'd ever done before, but I feel like I have the travel bug now. Like I definitely am interested in pursuing further opportunities in the region after I graduate. So I'm really excited about that.
Well, I do know that you can always come knocking at SIT's door because we're very happy to give our alumni any contacts that we may have professionally or personally.
Right, great.
So, No, as we come to the end of this interview here, if there was one thing that you know now that you wish you knew before you applied to the Morocco program, what would that be?
Oof, that's a tough one. I think I would tell myself to, and I think I did this, and you can only prepare for this so much, but just to really keep an open mind and try and to not come in with any any preconceived notions about the people, whether they're in your program or the local Moroccan people, because going into it with sort of having an idea of exactly how your study abroad experience is going to be, it's not going to go the way you planned, and so that might be hard for you if it goes a different way than you planned. So being able to go in with a completely open mind and just trusting and letting yourself learn through this experience, I think is a really great way to get the most out of it. Just, being open-minded, realizing that it is going to be different than anything you've done before, but that is the most rewarding part of it, that it's new and it's different and it's going to sort of make a mark on your identity and your life. So that's what I would say.
Well, that almost answers my last question too. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the applicant out there who's watching? And we do have a couple of viewers, I see. Anything that you want to say to them as they're deciding whether or not they want to study abroad in Morocco on your program or just in general? Anything else?
Let's see. I'd say just go with your gut, and even if it makes you nervous because it's unfamiliar, just go for it, because you do not know what good could come out of it. For example, sorry, I just have to add another little anecdote. One of my absolute best friends to this day, like one of my best friends who's going to be my friend for the rest of my life, I met 8 months ago in Morocco, and then we just worked together in Washington, D.C. We both worked for organizations that related to the Middle East, and now we're already planning visiting each other this next year and potentially living with each other after college. And I met her through SIT. So anyway, I would say just go for it, take that leap of faith. Also, when you get there, even if you have no language experience, really try to learn the language, because it is so rewarding to be able to speak with them, and it's really what you make of it. So I would say go for it, take that leap of faith, and just trust it's going to be a great time. I had an amazing experience, and I have no regrets about it. So.
And now you've got me very excited for my visit to Rabat in 2 weeks.
Yay! So, that's so exciting.
Yes. So thank you very much again for taking some time. Make sure you keep in touch with us. We always like to know what our alumni are doing.
Definitely.
And you have a good senior year, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a good day.